I currently own nearly $300,000 in vehicles. And no, none of them are supercars, though I wish they were. They are made up of normal, everyday cars like Mazdas, Fords, Toyotas, and more. And while these cars were accumulated over the course of many, many years, there is one thing that all of these cars have in common. They were all purchased for below market value or at a discount. From my 2009 Mercedes-Benz, which was purchased for $6,500 back in 2021, and I was recently paid $8,200 for it, to my Maserati Ghibli, which I bought for $29,500 and was paid nearly $32,000 for it just 6 months later. My Mazda 5, which was purchased for around $5,000 in 2023, and I was paid $6,300 for it in December of 2024. Or my Tesla Model 3 Performance, which I bought in April of last year for $26,500 and was paid $27,000 when I sold it just a few weeks ago. I have dozens and dozens of examples of cars that I've owned for a few months or for a few years. And then once I'm done with the car, either because I've sold it or because it got totaled out on platforms like Turo, I get paid more for the car than what I initially paid for it. And really what all of this comes down to is buying cars at a discount or below market value. That is the secret of owning cars for virtually free or making a profit while doing it. And this is applicable whether you're buying cars for yourself, for business, or for a side hustle. Now in this video, I want to break down my exact steps and methodology for buying these types of cars and how you can do the same. Now before we dive in, I do want to remind you guys that I have my course called the Car Sharing Masterclass, which teaches you everything that you need to know about starting and scaling a car sharing fleet with the exact same business model that I use. We do go over things like how to buy the right cars in the course, but we also teach you how to utilize vehicles on platforms like Turo. If you want to check that out, you can do so by clicking the link down in the description below, and you can use the code OFFER100 to get $100 off. So there are two components to buying cars the way that I buy them. The first component is buying cars at a discount, and the second is buying cars with predictable depreciation. You can have one without the other, but you absolutely cannot have a good deal that has neither of these components, because that's how you lose money. Let's first talk about depreciation, because this will play into the discount component that we'll talk about a little bit later on. Depreciation is how a car loses money over time, and not all depreciation is created equal. Depreciation is a bit of a sliding scale, with some cars, like for example Toyotas, Hondas, maybe Lexuses, having some of the best depreciation of any car out there, while other cars, like luxury cars for example, have a notoriously bad depreciation. But regardless of the type of car that you're looking to buy, all cars are going to depreciate, just some do it more than others. And if owning a car for free is one of your goals with your next vehicle purchase, then knowing how to navigate or at least understanding depreciation should be top of mind for you. Next is buying cars at below market value or at a discount. But before you can determine what a below market value is for a car, you first have to understand what the fair market value of that car is, or what that car is actually worth. You can do this a few different ways, and truthfully, I recommend all of them. KBB or Kelley Blue Book is a great tool to gauge this, but one thing to keep in mind with KBB is that it does ebb and flow with the car market, and some people believe that KBB actually has weight in determining the car market, because people see KBB and they think, oh, my car is worth this amount, without taking into consideration other factors like inventory. Another great way to gauge what a fair market value could be for a vehicle is to just simply look at the inventory that's available in your market. If I have a car that I want to buy, I will typically obsessively look at places like Facebook Marketplace, Cars.com, and I'll look at the different cars that are available for sale on these different listing platforms every single day. Doing so will allow for you to see what cars are selling for, what cars are sitting, and at what price point you can expect to pay for a car in order to get a good and thus below market value deal. The second consideration is inventory. Some cars are very hard to find, others are not. If you have a car that is a bit more rare, it's generally going to be harder to find it at a discount. If you have a car that's being sold left and right like crazy, well, it's going to be easier to find that car at a discount and harder to sell it at a premium. Inventory absolutely impacts what cars sell for, and high inventory vehicles are going to generally sell for less, and low inventory vehicles are generally going to sell for more. This can be either an advantage or a disadvantage depending on who you are, whether you're the buyer or the seller. And this is where price and depreciation begin to intertwine with one another. So we showed this depreciation graph earlier in the video, and whenever you buy a car at a place like right here at the top of the depreciation, you are generally going to lose a lot more money than if you were to buy a car here at the bottom of the depreciation. You will be able to have a much better likelihood of buying a car in this area and being able to own that car for free. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to buy a car that's 12 years or older in order to avoid depreciation costs. There's actually a way that you can use depreciation and discounts to your advantage in order to buy a car in this territory and still be able to own that car for free. Now, the first rule of thumb here is do not buy a new car. Do not buy a new car under any circumstances. You will very, very rarely be able to own a new car for free. In most cases, whenever you buy a new car, that car is going to depreciate 10, 20, 30% in the course of just a year, and you're going to lose a lot of money. There are a few exceptions to that rule, but the exceptions are few and far between, and I'm going to disregard those for this video. So do not buy a new car. But as I mentioned, if you want to buy a car in this territory right here, how you can go about doing that is you buy a car that has a more aggressive of a discount that allows for you to offset that depreciation. So let's say, for example, you buy a car that is 3 years old. 3 years old, this car would be worth, $13,000. And these are just kind of random numbers just to give you a picture of what I'm talking about. But this 3-year-old car, let's say, is worth $13K. Well, if you wanted to buy a 3-year-old car in this example and you wanted to own that car for completely free, well, what you would want to do is you would want to have an idea of how long you wanted to keep that car for, let's say for 2 years. And if that was the case for you, you would want to buy that car at around the 5-year depreciation mark. So in this case, you would want to buy this $13,000 car for about $10K, which is a $3,000 discount. In this example, you would be able to buy this $13,000 car for $10,000. You could own it for 2 years, and then whenever you sold the car, you would be selling it at its 5-year value. But because of the fact that you bought the car at its 5-year value, which was 10 grand, you would be able to own the car for completely free. So you can offset depreciation of a vehicle by buying that car for a steeper discount. That allows for you to sort of get ahead of the depreciation and be able to offset it later on whenever you go to sell. Basically, the newer car you buy or the heavier that car depreciates, the steeper of a discount you'll have to buy that car at in order to offset that depreciation. If you buy an older car, let's say a 12-year-old vehicle, well, depreciation becomes a much less of a concern, and you don't have to worry about buying that car at such a significant discount because of the fact that that car is not going to depreciate a lot, maybe 1, 2, 3% over the course of your ownership. In some cases, maybe not at all. So a discount isn't going to be nearly as much of a worry on older cars as it would be on newer cars. But overall, with newer, more volatile cars, getting those cars for a discount will be crucial. For example, I think my Tesla is a great example of this. We bought my Tesla for about 15% cheaper than the average performance model at the time, and I knew that if I wanted to own this car for free, I needed to get a 10 to 15% discount because that's how much I anticipated the car would be depreciating during the period of time I planned to own it. And so by buying this car at a steep discount, I was essentially able to get ahead of the depreciation before it hit me. A Tesla is a poorly depreciating newer car, but because I bought this car at a discount, I was able to get ahead of it. But had I bought this car closer to market value price, which was like 29, 30 grand, I actually would have ended up losing a few $1,000s over the course of my roughly year of ownership. Understanding what depreciation is and the role it plays in the vehicle that you're wanting to buy, this is foundational to being able to own cars for free. But there are some other factors that will help as well. First is buying cars private party. I know this isn't always possible, but if you buy a car at a dealership, you are almost guaranteed to pay at least market value for that car unless there is some crazy promotion going on. Buying private party is the best ways to get the best deals, and paying cash is the best way to get the biggest discounts. The phrase, "would you take X amount, I can come with cash tomorrow," is a line that I should get tattooed on my forehead because it's basically the line that I use for every deal that I've ever made. Having a sense of urgency is also incredibly important. If you message a Facebook seller and you tell them, "hey, I can come this weekend or next week to come check out a car," you are never going to get a good deal. All of the best deals that I've had with cars that I've purchased have come with a sense of urgency, saying, "hey, I can come later today, I can come tomorrow morning. Let me know when you want me to come and I can be there." Having that timeliness and that urgency behind it will definitely play to your advantage, and you will be able to get the best deals this way. And lastly, don't fear those crappy Facebook listings. The best deals come from lazy sellers. You are generally not going to get the best deals from someone who has detailed their car, taken 20 photos with a detailed description. This is someone who has most likely done their due diligence, and they are willing to wait to get the most amount of money out of the vehicle that they're selling. You want someone who didn't really care to take the time to clean the car, maybe they took 5, 6, 7 photos, and they have a half-assed written listing. These are people who are just not interested or not willing to spend the time to get a premium price. And this is how you can get some really great discounts. When I bought my Tesla, it had like 3 photos and the car was dirty when we went to go look at it. This was a guy that just was loaded, he was extremely wealthy, and he didn't care about getting top dollar. His time to detail the car just wasn't worth it. And so while many people believe that bad Facebook listings is indicative of a shady seller, this is not always the case, and sometimes it's just indicative of a lazy seller, and this can be a great way for you to take advantage of this and get a steep discount. Overall though, this is pretty much the foundation to how I work my deals through Facebook and private party purchases in order to avoid depreciation costs altogether. Like always, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it, so make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.